Listen up, this is me, Dee Snider. Yeah, you know me, and you are watching Heavy Consequence. And on that note, I'm going to crowd surf away.
We'll start out with the new album, Leave a Scar. Listen to the album, very heavy, really good stuff. And I wanted to ask, before we get into some of the songs, can you talk about how the album came together? Was it primarily written and recorded during the pandemic? Was it in the works before?
No, actually, I had quietly planned on walking away from live performing and recording in 2019. I told my band, my management, and my family that I was done with this part of my life. I felt that the love of metal felt like a drop the mic moment. I had come back to true metal, showed I had value in the contemporary music scene, the metal scene, had a charting record, top metal album in the world. And I said, you know what? This is a good time to walk off into the sunset as far as this goes. But then COVID happened, pandemic happened. Then the world went crazy politically. Not just in our country, but in countries all over the world. There's something going on. It's just, this Trump thingy is happening sort of everywhere in different ways, in different shapes and forms, but it's there. And I the phrase from NWA, yes, I'm quoting NWA. Hey, Dre, what, Cube? I got something to say. And I hadn't written a song or a lyric since Widowmaker in the 1990s. I had walked away at that point from writing, but I felt I had to write. And I called up Jamie Josta and said, dude, I want to do another record.
Wow. And the leadoff track, I Gotta Rock Again. Obviously, it's a little bit of a nod to I Wanna Rock, Twisted Sister. Can you tell me about that song, and then maybe just that theme of celebrating rock music in a time where people like Gene Simmons say rock is dead? It's kind of refreshing to hear that.
He makes me crazy. I mean, I love him. I love Kiss, but I wish he just shut the hell up with this. And he doubles down on it. He doubles down. And it's just this statement of rock's dead. There are no rock stars. Don't bother people. All that shit. It's just so self-serving and self-absorbed and just, it's selfish. It's like, because it's not doing it my way, it doesn't have value. You know what I mean? So it's not the way it was when I was coming up. So it's not rock and roll anymore. Anyway, that's bullshit. But I Gotta Rock Again. It really was just a thought. Just in the middle of the pandemic, it was really one of the first thoughts that started this record off. And here I had told everybody I was walking away, and I just like, well, man, I got to rock again. And then I kind of laughed to myself, like, boy, if there was a Dee Snider song title, that's it right there. I am the guy. I want to rock. You can't stop rock. I believe in rock. I'm always rocking. I once told the guys a bunch of guys who were from jam bands, I said, I noticed you never used the word rock. Is that because I used them up in the 80s? So I wrote it down because I work off song titles. I Gotta Rock Again. And then I said, and then I started saying, why not? I mean, I can't be the only person who's feeling this very simple statement during this time, this COVID time. And so that was sort of the kickoff point for Leave a Scar, and it went from there.
Cool. And another song that stuck out to me, Down But Never Out, has this I think this one really has Jamie Josta's stamp on it, because it has this real hardcore chorus to it. And I wanted to hear about that one in particular, and particularly that kind of hardcore vibe that we get in that song.
Well, look, it's me, Jamie, and Charlie Belmore doing all the songwriting on the record. But Jamie calls me OGD because I'm the one who's been pushing to go harder and harder. He's kind of holding me back, and I'm going, no, we need more chants. I'm like, I want and he's like, OGD. He says, you're always pushing it to go heavier and harder. So I'm like, but I love the aggression. I love the heaviness. I think it reflects. It really reflects powerful emotions. But I'm glad you picked that song because, I pride myself on the fact that I like to think that as much as rebellious as I can be, as aggressive and angry as I can be, there's always a sense of hope. The song's not just called Down. It's down but never out, because it was about, we got the shit kicked out of us during COVID. The shit kicked out of us. But I'm here to tell you guys, everybody, we can rise from this. We can come. They can't beat us. And I even we're not going to take it. Yeah, it was like, we're not going to take this anymore. But at the same time, I was telling people, we don't have to listen to them. We can choose for ourselves. We can do better than they did. So I always like to lace all my songs, no matter how hard they are, with hope for the future.
And speaking about choosing, one of the songs, Time to Choose, has George Corpse Grinder Fisher from Cannibal Corpse, just with his heavy gutturals. And just like, first of all, talk about that song. How did that collaboration come together?
OGD. OGD. When we were recording it and I was tracking my vocals, and in between takes, I said, hey, who'd be really good on this? George Fisher. And Jamie goes, George Corpse Grinder Fisher, thinking I must mean like the former bass player for Free or some other George. You can't be referring to the Corpse Grinder. And I was like, no, Corpse Grinder. Yeah, Corpse Grinder. And first of all, I support all metal. I champion all metal. I believe we're stronger as a community together than we are separate. And you don't have to love it all, people, but just it's like a family. You may not like your crazy brother, but he's still your brother. So and we should support each other. What I didn't know was that that's not done. People from the classic rock world don't even acknowledge death metal and bands that hard, let alone invite them to sing. Like, you'll get young bands asking a classic artist to join them, but you don't see the classic. If anything, they mock that kind of stuff, and I don't. So I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, this song's really hard. It's really aggressive. The message is just perfect for him. But it turned out to be, and by the way, you said it was actually, we had done the album, and Napalm said we need a bonus track. You know what they use the bonus tracks for. So we wrote Time to Choose, and then we added, and then the song just came alive and it became a lead track instead of a bonus track. But I didn't realize that nobody does that, and I'm really glad that I did. And Jamie says that Corpse Grinder was practically emotional when he asked him, and he said Dee Snider wants me on his track. Couldn't believe it that I would ask, but I'm really glad I did. I think it works great. And if maybe people from my generation will look and say, oh wow, this has its place too. It has its place. Maybe it's not for everything, but it has its place.
And you just talk about how, maybe you're considered a classic rocker, but, I hear you turned 66 this year, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, I just say 66.6.
Yeah, I was going to say a very metal age. You turned the very metal age this year. But I was going to say your voice on this album is as strong as ever. You're as fit as ever. And, I think you put a lot of younger guys to shame in terms of rock and metal. But can you talk about, what you do to keep your voice in shape, what you do to keep your body in shape after all these years?
I love to tell people it's some sort of miracle thing, like you too, could do this if you just commit blah. But it really has just been a consistency of lifestyle over the years that when I really look at things and say, well, this is really, and a certain amount of genetics, of course, but it's not that I'm a gym rat who spends 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. No, but I've always worked out. I tell people, just 45 minutes, 3 days a week, in the gym is gonna shut that off. Sorry about that. Muted it. Whatever. And the voice, I never drank and I never did drugs and I never smoked. And even though I do a lot of voiceovers because they like my husky, whiskey drinking, cigarette smoking voice, that just comes from screaming my lungs out my whole life. So that lifestyle and healthier lifestyle has given me longevity on a number of levels. And by the way, younger musicians, it is my job to shame you into rocking harder. Yes, I'm going to embarrass you into rocking harder.